on the sidelines of the 47th seminar of the Bishops of Cameroon. We have with us the President of the National Episcopal Conference of Cameroon and Archbishop of Bamenda, our Father, His Grace, Andrew Nkea, with us. Good afternoon, His Grace. You are welcome to this makeshift studio of Divine Mercy Radio Television.
Thank you. I enjoyed the makeshift studio under these beautiful trees of Marwa.
We want to really thank you for granting us this interview despite your difficult and tight schedule. The bishops are following a tight program here in Marwa, and you still accepted to talk with us. We are grateful, His Grace.
You're welcome, anytime.
We are in Marwa for the 47th seminar of the Bishops of Cameroon. His Grace, why Marwa? Are there particular reasons for the bishops to be here in Marwa for this seminar? Are there some special reasons for choosing Marwa to host the bishops at the beginning of the year 2024?
Yes, I would say there are some reasons. Every year we go to a particular diocese, but there are some events that influence our choice. The first is that Marwa is concluding the celebrations of marking the Golden Jubilee of this diocese, the Diocese of Marwa Mokolo. And it is very, very important for sharing of resources, sharing of personnel. There are parts of the church which are dying because of lack of priests. Yet there are other local churches that have boom of vocations. And in this way, we are seeing how some of the churches can help the other churches, and this is where we are. So it is very important for us. You look at, for example, what we have in America called the Mission Appeals or the Mission Cooperation Plan. It's part of this moving together, that we are moving together and going towards one direction, seeing how the gospel message can reach the ends of the earth.
Now let us talk about the recent issue of homosexuality that the bishops of Cameroon reacted in a statement signed on the 19th of December by the president, signed by you. And in that statement, you were unequivocal. Homosexuality has no part in the African culture. And in spite of the semantic nuances, it is clear that to bless is to speak well of. But there are those who understand blessing in the light of to make holy, like saying to bless water or to bless a marriage. Are they wrong to feel that to bless these homosexuals can be to make them holy?
I think we must clarify one thing here. I've said this before in other interviews, and I'll say it here. I don't condemn those with homosexual orientations. If a homosexual comes in front of me, I will bless him. If a lesbian comes in front of me, I will bless her. But if a homosexual couple comes in front of me, I will not bless them. Because what am I sanctifying? So we should understand the difference between blessing a gay, blessing a lesbian, or blessing a gay couple or a lesbian couple. Those are two different things. And I think what the bishops of Cameroon were talking about is blessing homosexual couples, be they gay or lesbian. What are you sanctifying? You are sanctifying two women to go into the house and do what? You are sanctifying two men together to do what? So this is what we don't understand, and that's why we say that because of the ambiguity of this kind of blessing, we don't want to make blessing to have any ambiguity. It is forbidden in Cameroon, in the Church of Cameroon. And luckily, the symposium of the Episcopal Conferences of Africa and Madagascar, SECAM, has come out with a declaration that these blessings are forbidden in the Catholic Church in Africa as a whole. So that is where we stand.
The bishops of Cameroon have also expressed their wish that the country should be in peace and, of course, progress in terms of integral development. His Grace, you have been president of the National Episcopal Conference of Cameroon since April 2022. More than a year as the president of the Bishops' Conference, what evaluation can you make of the situation, the integral of the situation of peace in Cameroon and the response, the relationship between the church and the government?
There are two things I must say to you. We are looking at peace at two levels. We are looking at peace as external tranquility of events. We are looking at peace from the view of policies in place that will make for durable peace. Number one, having been through the crisis in the Northwest and the Southwest from the very onset, I can say without fear or favor that things have really improved. Things have really improved. Now more people are going to the market, offices are open, children are going to schools, and the situation is normalizing a little bit. But on the second aspect, we look at cause and effect. What caused the crisis and whether the problems have been solved. We are still looking at this, and we still have to continue working hard. There is still a massive problem of insecurity in our regions, and that is why my evaluation is that we must continue. Force will not solve this problem. We have said it over and over. Force will not solve it. We need to sit down with some of the stakeholders and be able to look at some of the issues and look for a middle ground so that this peace we are talking about is not cosmetic. It should be lasting peace. Peace that people will be living together happily, not living together as if they are being forced. So for me, there is relative peace, but we still have to work very hard to arrive at definitive peace, especially with regard to cause and effect of what led us into this situation.
Finally, His Grace, many people are looking up to the church in Cameroon, led by the bishops, and they feel that the church can put more pressure on the government to improve on the well-being of its citizens. What must the church do at the moment? How can the church be more of a light, especially in our context where we can say there is so much darkness?
The church has only one instrument, the gospel. The church continues to preach the gospel in season and out of season. Accepted or unaccepted, we continue to insist on the gospel message and on the truth. The church does not have any coercive instruments to force the government to do what the church wants. The church can only insist on the truth that flows from the gospel, and that is Christ himself. And I think, looking at our situation in Cameroon, we really have to pray, and pray very hard. We have to be able to face our problems. I think Cameroonians have to be very objective in the situation in which they live. The level of corruption in our society, the level of manipulation in our society, the level of dishonesty in our society, insecurity, crime. Everybody must look at themselves. What is my contribution to deteriorating the situation in Cameroon? And what can I do to better the situation in Cameroon? Before I talk about bettering the situation in Cameroon, let me ensure that my diocese, where I am the boss, is well run, and that all these things I'm criticizing don't exist in my diocese. And this is where I'm saying that we have a very big challenge in Cameroon. And that challenge is everybody should look at themselves and see how they have contributed to bringing Cameroon to where it is. And we must all then get up, put our hands together to move this country forward. I think our pace is very slow. Secondly, The church, as it stands, is the voice of the voiceless. But the voice of the voiceless comes from the church to any authority, in any situation. And the church must speak the truth in season and out of season, accepted or unaccepted. Truth does not know authority. It doesn't know friends. Truth is truth. And I think this is what the church has to do at all times. As a conference of bishops, there is something I've always explained, and many people still don't understand it today. We live in very, very diverse situations. I don't know whether you have come to the north or extreme north before. The situation of the extreme north is completely different from the situation of Buea or from the situation in Douala. And so when there is a social situation and the Bishop of Douala speaks, he is right. If the Bishop of Maroua has a different view, he too is right. When we want to speak, for example, as we spoke on homosexuality, it's a common moral teaching of the church. But when it comes down to individual perceptions of what happens in dioceses, every bishop has autonomy in his diocese to teach the gospel and to see things as he deems and judges necessary and fit for the growth of his personal diocese. I think that is one of the things that people should really understand. Oh, the bishops are not talking together. They are not in unison. We're not in unison. How? There is Ambazonia fighting in Bamenda. Ambazonia is not fighting in Sangmelima. So if I say Ambazonia is fighting and the Bishop of Sangmelima says Ambazonia is not fighting, he is right. Me, I'm also right. So it is very important for people to understand that every bishop judges the good of his diocese from the backdrop of the things that he sees and what he hears. And this is very important for our audience to understand.
We want to thank you very much, His Grace, for giving us this interview on DMR TV, and we wish you well in your work as the President of the National Episcopal Conference of Cameroon.
I use this chance singularly to thank Divine Mercy Radio and Television, because you are now functioning as if you were the television of the National Episcopal Conference, and we appreciate you for that. Since we don't have the means to get a national TV for our conference, you people are supplying us a lacuna. You are filling us a lack. And I think I must use this chance on behalf of the conference to thank you and thank the team, and led by the Bishop, of course, for the wonderful work you are doing and for the sacrifices that you are making so that Catholic teaching, Catholic news, and the events of the church is seen throughout the national territory and abroad. And I must tell you that while we are in Maroua here, I've received messages from Germany and other countries abroad congratulating for the work we are doing in Maroua, thanks to Divine Mercy Radio and Television. So continue your good work, and may God bless you.
We want to thank you for following this interview. It was an interview granted to us by His Grace Andrew Nkea, the President of the National Episcopal Conference of Cameroon and Archbishop of Bamenda.